So I wanted to show you guys an example playing board and the placeholders that I have in place right now in the code. It doesn't resemble at all at what I had here. I think well, some things are to be seen, trying to make hills look like hills. The mountains aren't bad. Probably not going to try make it all very realistic like this. To be seen. Yeah, and my notes for the videos and the thingies. It's a lot of thinking. How am I going to do, and how I'm going, what I'm going to talk about in a video, how I'm going to present that, and what am I going to say. So I'm all starting out. So it's all a lot of things to think out. Here I had a little list of what am I going to treat first. Either first make the building assets, but the building, because I need to draw stuff. I only have like squares to put on the map right now. You probably saw that in my code. Need to have some images. I need to find a way to represent a village with upgrades, etc. So I was thinking maybe I can just make the buildings, and at least by clicking I can place them, because before already I need to have an interface that you can see what you can place, and you can place it. I was like, yeah, but first I need to have the buildings and be able to put them on tiles simply with a click before I go for functionality. So every time I'm thinking, first I want to do that, and then do that is subdivides in, but before I can do that, I have to do that. There's all kinds of systems to be put in place before I can take any steps. So first the buildings. No, first maybe just place a unit and move it. But to be able to move it, I need to have the grid that the game knows where when you put a unit where it can move, of course. So yeah, I was like, I just have to do the grid first, and then I can do all the other things, because also for the buildings depends on what you can place, where it's connected. So yeah, probably I will do the grid, and then I will try to either make a unit and be able to move it around, or just make the buildings and be able to place them by just clicking places a building. Or well, even for that I need to be able to choose which buildings can be placed, or maybe it just cycles through available buildings just to start to have a thing to start with. So all that stuff. So right, let me see if it's, you can see in my image, you can see my phone where the image of my camera is, so I can see what I'm looking at. The camera angle isn't ideal, so not sure if you're even able to see this. Yeah, kind of. So here I have one half finished board, and so I was thinking, oh, maybe you can see it on the video. You have a hexagonal here behind it. It's hidden behind the culture tiles, the circles. But if you continue the lines, right, you have the hexagon. And for the game, I only want this piece, this corridor piece. The rest isn't visually represented. But like I might have explained, I need a functionality to have, maybe I can show it down here. You have a unit here, it needs to move, when there's no road, it has to move to this part or this part, or whatever the other directions. It has six directions. But for this corridor, it can move to two positions, this one or this one. And if it's a builder, or an army unit, still maybe army units won't even be possible, won't have the possibility to move in there when there's no road. I'm not sure yet. It all becomes clear later on. So it has to be able to move here or here, and then stay there because it has one turn to move. And then it's next turn, it's here, and it should be able to build a road in this one. And so I need a functionality that the game knows that the unit is here and not here or here. When I only have this whole corridor as one shape with one functionality, if I would build it's in some games how it works. You have like a zone, you build roads on the zone, and that means all the zones have a road. I think it's like in Total War Empire, for example. I'm not sure if that's, I think that game does that. You can like build a road in a certain zone, and then the whole zone has roads, you know. But I don't want that. I want specifically, because the connections between the culture tiles, the circles, will be very important game-wise. Yeah, I was thinking maybe the most easy solution is to create 3 zones on top or inside, whatever it's called in code, in how it conceptually works. So here's the hexagon, so I could make zones on here, like 3 different zones, and then this unit moves from this corner, and because the culture tiles will be represented, the vertex will contain the culture tile, and it moves to the other one, but it stops over here. It has to stop over there. Whenever there's a road, finally, let's build a road here, then the unit moves from the culture to the corridor, to that zone of the corridor, and then it moves to the next round or the vertex. So probably, but like I'm a total noob, I'm not sure how that would work or if it's possible, I could create a relationship between this vertex and the next vertex, and with the movement, when it's here, that's in the middle, then that it's in the middle of the 2 vertex, whatever. And yeah, that probably would be possible, but yeah, for now it seems, with my current knowledge, seems more simple to create 3 zones on top of the corridor, which, like I said, in reality are like this this pointy square shape. Yeah, so that is what I'm gonna try to implement. Yeah, and also another functionality that I need, of course, is that these zones are as neighbors to this culture tile. So I wouldn't know how to do that. A lot of things I really don't know to do, but I see it. Yeah, I need the functionality of these 3 zones to serve as neighbors for the culture tiles. So normally, like you can see here, a culture tile, the circle, I keep repeating myself, is bordered by 3 culture tiles, but in fact functionally it needs 6 different zones, because the unit can move in 6 different ways. I think it would be the most simple thing to do, and so I will try to implement a hexagon with a culture tile on one of the vertices, and when I repeat that, you will get this pattern. You have one hexagon with 1 culture, the next one will be placed next, and the one above is from the one above. So I just need, it's 1 on 1, like I have now one area with the cultures and one with the cultures. It's the same quantity except for the borders. I want that the corridors are enclosing all the culture tiles for now. So that's just so yeah, I have no idea if all this stuff is interesting for anybody, but I'm like just explaining my thought process as I go along. I find that's interesting. I like explaining it, and it's good for myself to get my ideas clear in my head. So it's I think it's funny. We'll see if anybody is interested in listening me ramble. So yeah, so that I was telling. So the hexagon hexagons will be the basic grid, then each one will have a culture tile on one of the vertices and the total corridor on the face, because I also need functionality for the whole corridor and I need functionality for the zones of the corridor, because I need the corridors to connect to other corridors as a whole. I might even do that with the little zones. Not sure yet if like the little zones, they will just be a functionality, but probably or maybe I can use the corridor as a whole as a function of the 3 different zones, and that in fact the corridor as a whole with all the 3 zones connected will just be a visual thing. But for now, I think workers and maybe soldiers and roads need to be placed in these zones, and I'm thinking the hunters will, when they move, they will be placed in the middle. They will be placed here, because they can move from one corridor to the next, and the difference is that soldiers and especially workers can just move on the shortest path through the corridor, through nature. They cannot, I like the idea that they are limited in their movement. They cannot traverse the most rough part of the corridor, the center, let's say. And they can just take the shortest route. I like that concept, and the hunters can jump from one corridor to the next. So their movement, the range of movement is much more flexible already. So what I have to implement now is, like I already said, I have to implement the hexagon grid with a culture tile on one vertex and the corridor on the face, and then either directly on the hexagon also the 3 zones, 1, 2, 3, or the zones will be contained by the corridor. Not sure yet how that is going to work out conceptually. So, but firstly I'm gonna create in my shape, in the class, my board shape class where I make all the shapes, I will have to create this square, and for that I need to create this point. I need to have code for this point, because the 3 shapes, all 3 need this point, which I don't have defined in my code. And then I have to create these 3 shapes, like west, east, south, corridor zone. And that's it.